Sitting in the cockpit of the Dahak Mk2, I watched the city of Basset go by, smelling of industry and steel. All around us were old, broken-down warships that were repurposed, where they fell into residencies, businesses, and even an orphanage, from which we just finished visiting. Red and I bobbed along as the Dahak took us to our destination, the quest broker, Flo. As we approached her stall, I realized that we didn't know much about her. She obviously has a life outside of working as a quest broker, but we never see her outside of work. We took a personal quest from her a while ago, but that was really about it. Maybe it's because we're always working too. Who knows? Anyway, once we arrived, Red began speaking.
Hey, Flo. How you doing? We were just getting started again after a quick vacation, having just saved the world and whatnot. We were just in the area visiting the orphanage, so I figured we'd stop by. Got anything?
I'm good, Red. Thanks for asking. It's good to see you guys again,
Flo said, sifting through a small box of cards with the day's date on it.
Let's see. Here's one that should be up your alley,
she said as she slid a card towards Red. I gently tugged on Red's arm so I could read the quest card as well. Please help. Some cultists took my son for who knows what. Please meet me at my shop, and I'll give you more details. Please, Flo, find someone quick. Anon Pisces. Red took the card over, and we saw that there was a location on the back of it, as well as a monetary reward of 4,000 rings.
We'll take it,
Red said, stashing the card on his front console. I didn't realize that there were cults here, I said to Red. Or in general, I thought they were a thing of the past.
Oh, believe me, they exist. Having been a hunter for as long as I have, I've seen some stuff. It's pretty wild and honestly kind of amazing how crazy some people are. Imagine Bruno, but worse.
Sheesh, I said, trying to picture what we'd been dealing with. I thought that the Karvas were all insane enough, but I guess I'm wrong.
You got that right.
Red sighed, steering his mech away from the stall. Both of us bid farewell to Flo, and we made our way to the guy's shop as fast as we could. Upon arrival, we saw an older Kananu Chihuahua, about 50, pacing nervously back and forth as he tinkered with the machine in his garage. He was wearing a beat-up and ratty mechanic's overalls that were riddled with tears and caked with oil stains to the point that we could barely tell that they were blue. The red shirt underneath wasn't faring too much better, and neither were his boots. The shop itself was in about the same condition as his owner's clothes, but that kind of applied to the rest of Basset.
Hey, we're here to rescue your son,
Red called to the man. Looking over, the man was immediately flooded with relief when he saw us approach him with a nice-looking mech.
Oh, thank God. I was beginning to worry that no one was going to show up.
No need to worry, we got you. Now what's the lowdown on this whole cult?
Okay. So, last night, I was sitting in my garage when I heard this banging noise on my door. Scared of my wits, I grabbed a gun and walked outside, but no one was there. But when I got out there, I saw a note slapped onto the door. It said that they were going to take my son for a ritual, or whatever if I didn't leave them tons of rings by the next morning. I didn't take it seriously, so I just threw out the note. But the next morning, I heard my son yell, and I ran into his room only to find the window broken. I panicked and scribbled out a quest card and gave it to Flo about an hour and a half ago. And now we're here. Please hurry. I don't know what they're going to do to him. And he's the only family I've left after my wife passed.
Don't worry, sir. We'll get your son back. Did they leave any clue as to who they were? I asked.
Let me think. I think the bottom said, the Deadly Knolls, if I remember correctly. Yeah, that's what it said.
Red thought for a second, and a sudden realization washed over his face. His snout twitched angrily, almost anxiously, if I didn't know the guy any better. What's wrong, Red? I asked with growing concern. You usually don't get worked up like that.
I think I've read about the Knolls before. They're pretty infamous on Basset and other places for their rituals and whatnot. They hold up in a pretty dangerous place here on Basset, and that's why the authorities haven't dared approach them. Last I checked, their rituals involve sacrifice, so we'd better bust tail in getting there.
At the word sacrificed, my heart sank right into the plasma sea, and my stomach dropped even lower. Remembering back to what occurred on Samoyede, tidal waves of old pushed-down emotions washed over me. Sitting in between Red's legs in the cockpit, I looked up at him. I studied every part of his face. The bone that he always had in his mouth, like it was a cigar. The X-shaped scar below his left eye on his snout. His scruffy red and white fur. Everything. At the time, I didn't want to admit it, but I was in love with him. And I still am. After adventuring with him for a while, I slowly became more and more fond of him, and I ended up falling in love with the dumb mutt. I tried to push those feelings aside and perform my rite, but Beluga came along and intervened as I was hesitating and stopped. Then I was kidnapped. I was already overwhelmed with guilt, but after Red had rescued me right after I had just tried killing him, it made me feel even worse. I didn't deserve him. And after Red said something about sacrifices, it reminded me that I still don't deserve him and his infinite kindness towards me. I wanted to tell him that I loved him so badly, but I couldn't. I just couldn't. After all that had happened, I wasn't worthy of that, of him. My tail curled around out in front of me, and I fidgeted with it anxiously as my ears twitched, not realizing that I had spaced out.
Elle,
Huh?
you okay? You're looking kinda spacey right now.
Looking up, I did my best to feign cheerfulness. Yeah, I'm fine. Just a little nervous about going into this place is all. I fake chuckled. Ren looked back at me apprehensively, raising an eyebrow.
Alright, are you sure you can do this? I can run back to the Asmodeus for you, if you'd like.
No, it's fine. Don't worry about me. Red sighed and conceded.
Okay. If you're sure, off we go.
We trekked through the scraps and heaps of metal that was Basset. All the while, my sins were weighing upon me. I couldn't stop thinking about what I had done to the mutt I loved so much. I gained his trust, lied to him, and tried to kill him. And he still came and rescued me? I sank lower into the cockpit and felt even worse about myself. But my brooding was interrupted by Red's voice.
Hang on tight. This ship could collapse at any second. And there are traps literally everywhere. Keep your head down unless you want to lose those cute little ears of yours.
Red warned as he ruffled the top of my head. I smiled and blushed a little as I ducked down and grabbed onto the handles. This wasn't a time to be sulking like this. I had to be helping Red. As we made it through, I kept my eyes sharp for any lurking dangers and warned Red as needed. Soon enough, we came onto the clearing inside of the ship that was slightly overgrown. Red's ears perked up, and he gently signaled to be as quiet as possible. Red got off the Dahak and equipped its feet with rubber pads. Getting back in, he threw the Dahak into stealth mode, which slowed us down considerably, but we would make very little noise, if any at all. Sneaking forward through the door, we saw about 8 people in robes, both Kananu, who were in mechs, and Feliniko. There was a boy, about 12, tied up and bound to the altar. In the center of them, the Feliniko in the circle were staggered forward of the Kananu and were chanting, slowly but surely. A circle of light appeared around the boy and began to glow brighter as the Feliniko continued chanting. I saw this and felt my stomach drop once more. The incantation circle looked almost identical to the incantation circle for the rite of forfeit. My brain went into a shutdown sequence, and I began staring into space.
Shoot! Looks like they've already started the ritual. I gotta get in there fast. Ready, El?
Red looked down at my despondent self.
El! El!
Shaking my head, I looked back. Yeah, let's go. Red looked forward, determined, and we charged in, taking the first Kananu by surprise from behind. Red whipped us around in a circle and threw the first guy into the Kananu off to our left. At the sudden interruption, the Feliniko hesitated in their chanting, the ring now wavering. The remaining Kananu urged the cats to keep chanting, and they resumed, the brightness of the circle filling up once more. The rest of the fight was a blur. I was far gone by then, too absorbed in my own thoughts and guilt. The previous statement I made to myself about helping Red had been washed away. I didn't even remember returning to the main part of Basset. All I remember was returning to the Asmodeus and going to my room. On my bed, I curled up into a ball and felt the weight of my emotions and sins on my back and began to quietly cry for myself and for Red.
After I had returned the kid to his dad and took us back home, I docked the Dahak and began doing some minor repairs. My mech had taken a small beating during the fight. Considering that we were fighting against 4 freaking people at once, probably not a great idea on my end, but hey, it worked out, right? Elle said she was tired and wanted some sleep, so I bid her good night, even though it was 4 in the afternoon, and she went about her way. Upon finishing the repairs, I showered and sprawled out in the living room, feeling my back decompress as I relaxed upon the couch. Ah, that's the stuff. What a wild day today, I said to myself. Just then, Chocolat appeared out of the hallway and sat down across from me with some steaming tea.
You looked like you need this. How's Basset?
I picked up the tea and blew on it, took a sip, felt the warm liquid throughout my body, rubbing away any soreness from today. I thanked the Kaninu Pomeranian as I told her what had happened today. As I finished, Chocolat pursed her lips and put her hand to her chin and thought,
That's pretty insane. A cult? You don't see that every day. Come to think of it, looked pretty bothered coming back from that. You could do well to check on her.
So my hunch was correct. There was something wrong. Yeah, I thought so too. Although I kinda just took her excuse at face value. I'll check up on her, I said, standing up, leaving my sister to finish her tea.
Just tread lightly. I know how you are with words sometimes.
Oh, shut up, I retorted as I left, hearing her giggle disappear behind me as I made my way to Elle's room. Before I entered, I heard a quiet, muffled squeak, followed by sobbing. Is she crying? What'd I do this time? Taking a breath, I quietly knocked on the door. Hey, Elle? It's me.
Go away. Please, leave me alone.
Damn it! It really was me. What the hell did I do? I opened the door slightly so that my voice could carry through. Hey, I just want to talk. We're a team, remember? We gotta take care of each other. The only response I got was a sniffle, and I took that as my cue to enter. Gently pushing the door open, I entered her room and saw her in the corner, nearest to the wall of her bed, curled up and crying. I sat down at the edge of the bed near her, rubbed her back and in circles. Hey, come here, I said with as much caring in my voice as I could muster. A sniffle. I patted her back and said it once more. Hey, it's okay. Come here, Elle, and we can talk about it. She exhaled reluctantly and reluctantly crawled over to where I was sitting. I turned toward her and she buried her face in my chest, sobbing louder than before. The tiny Felinico shuddered with every breath she took in and wailed with every exhale that came out. I'm not typically very emotionally intelligent. I'm as clueless as a pirate with 2 eye patches. But sitting here and letting this girl cry into me, I could feel a lot of weight behind her tear that rolled down her cheek. After a few minutes of this, her crying became quieter and the sobs further apart. Are you ready to talk? She nodded into my chest, pulling herself away from me, taking a shaky breath, and wiped her eyes and nose with her hand.
I don't deserve you.
Right out of the gate, she already sideswept me with a battering ram. How do I respond to that? I kept silent, waiting for her to continue.
Do you remember what happened at Samoyede?
Yeah, I said, remembering the rite and lyres.
And you remember how I was supposed to sacrifice you for the rite, right?
I nodded, stroking her head.
After all of that, after you put your trust in me, after traveling with me everywhere, I lied to you the whole way. I broke every level of trust imaginable and tried to kill you. But you still came back for me. You stuck with me all this way after all that I did to you. Why, Red? Why? Why did you keep your feelings around after I lied to you and almost took you away from your sister? I've been keeping these feelings to myself for the longest time, and I thought I'd forgotten about them. But after today, with the cult and all, it just...
At the end of her ramble, she trailed off and put her forehead against my chest. I finally put the puzzle together. The sacrifices of that cult we took out today reminded her of everything, and now she feels awful again. I began stroking her head as I considered my words.
Elle, I came back for you because I care about you. You became a member of our team, and I wouldn't change that for the world. You have proven yourself worthy of coming with Chocolat and me on this journey, and I wanted to make sure that keep doing that with us. I don't care that I was a part of the sacrificial ritual. All I cared about, and still care about, is that you were okay.
Elle was silent as she took my words to heart.
Idiot.
But what did I do?
I don't know if you remember, but I stopped part way through the ritual. Do you know why?
No, tell me, I said gently at the top of her head. I said gently into the top of her head.
Earlier that day, an old woman told me to be true to my feelings. I was thinking about that the entire time I was casting it, and I had to stop because of that.
Feelings? What? I began.
I love you, idiot. I've loved your stupid butt for a while now, and that's why I couldn't go through with the ritual. I've wanted to tell you that for so long, but I felt that I wasn't worthy of that. Or you.
I was taken aback and didn't know how to react at all. I haven't dealt with this woman very much in my life, other than those at the orphanage and Chocolat, so this was completely new to me. Reflecting backwards, I asked myself at that moment, what to do? What do I really feel about her? Was this what all this time spent adventuring together was leading up to? I thought about it. I thought about all that we've been through and all of the little moments that we've had together. I thought about what she really meant to me, and as I gazed upon feline echo in my arms, I knew exactly how to respond at that moment. I love you too, Elle. I don't know how it took me this long to realize it, but I love you. You're always going to be worthy of me. Although, I don't know why you'd pick a guy like me. You deserve the universe, Elle. After everything that you've seen and been through. You're going to be okay, alright? That's all in the past. What matters is what's here and now. Elle sniffled and clung on to me even tighter. When I returned the embrace, there wasn't anything I wanted more than this moment, than to shield this quivering kitten from her inner demons. You mean the world to me. There's nothing I wouldn't do to protect you. As I said those words to her, I felt my heart race, hoping that I had done good and said the right thing. She drew herself away from me and looked at me in the eyes. Suddenly she pushed me over, and I was lying flat on my back on her bed. Then she unceremoniously threw herself on top of me and began giggling with delight. Elle snaked her arms under my neck, and then she buried her face in the crook of my neck. I could hear her muffled voice as she spoke to me one more time.
Just shut up and hold me.
Laughing, I wrapped my arms around her as I became more aware of the comforting weight of her body on top of mine. She sighed, satisfied that I had done what she had asked. I closed my eyes, basking in her presence, and I knew that everything was going to be okay.